What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? So I know my camera is in a different place for this video. It's because I need the bar to be able to slide. I'm not doing too much like still, so we're just gonna go through the video. We're gonna see some timestamps, but I'm doing a reaction to Dexter. Man, I'm addicted. I'm addicted. And I just want to talk about it. So this is Dexter Resurrection. It's a new series coming out, new episode every week, and episode 6 just happened. Right, it's called Cats and Mouse. So before we heard about Blessing's mother having like health problems, and basically here she has passed away, and Blessing is inviting Dexter to come to her wake. Blessing's mother and Dexter, had a conversation about how she wanted to pass away and how she wanted to be around friends and family and things of that nature. So, Blessing's here inviting him to her wake. Um, so right here, I like this moment. Right, this is where Dexter and Harrison and I believe if I go back a little bit more forward, you may be able to see Harry right here, right? Harry is here. My camera's blocking a little. That's all right, but all three Morgan men are here. I do like this scene, and I like how Dexter was teaching him how to tie a tie. My dad taught me how to tie a tie. I feel like it's a very like fatherly moment when you get to teach your son how to tie a tie, and when I know how to do freaking ties, bow ties, like um, because of my dad. So I love this moment. Now later they end up going to the party, right? And this is where Dexter is saying hi to everybody. I thought this was like an awkward moment between them because this is where Blessing's daughter comes up, right? And she goes, "Hey, you remember or hey, how's your chest doing?" And it kind of I was like, now they're looking at each other like, what do we say? Because Harrison shot him. And I feel like to a certain extent, there's probably some like unsettled feelings. Maybe still. I feel like if my son shot, I'd still be mad. But I know that's his son, but he's forgiven him. But you can tell they didn't know what to do here. They're just like, I thought it was freaking hilarious, man. So there was that, and then we go to I guess another scene of Dexter confronting death, but in a different way. Because even in last episode, when he was talking to Blessing's mom, he was talking about the fact that he was like, I've never talked to someone who's about to confront death, but I'm not, you know, the catalyst and for them confronting it. Like, and he was talking about how old age and how she's comfortable talking about it. He thought it was very strange. It kind of, you know, took him out of his element a little bit. So here, Blessing talking. This is where, oh my god, I thought this was a great scene because Prater is starting to look into his missing people. Um, what is that? The other guy's name? I can't. He was like this the tattoo guy, right? He's gone. Mia just got arrested, and it's starting like a chain reaction of just like what is going on, right? And I feel like he might be getting a little paranoid here, so he basically he goes through Dexter's house, and oh, this is where they start getting the cats. I thought this was just like an interesting point. Look how awkward Dexter is when he's talking about like death. You can, and he even has to like fake a tear, you know. And I thought it was just it's just funny, like seeing him be so awkward. I thought another part was funny was that everybody else can tell that he was awkward. Like even this lady right here, she had came up to him and was like, "Are you uncomfortable around dead bodies?" He was like, "Yeah." Like, but I feel like anybody would, right? Because that was an open casket, and I mean, he probably saw her what last week, the other day. So to know that she's dead and that she's just, like it would probably be weird for anybody to be in that situation. Now, this scene right here, I thought was This is where Dexter shows off his like intelligence, because the rebuttal here was amazing. I thought they was like this close to like coming to get him, right? Because these are the times where he's got to react on the fly. And they're going through the house and they see the mold everywhere, and it's one of them times, right? So this is where my adrenaline started pumping a little bit. I'm like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? So, but Dexter figures it out. He says, "Hey man, like you found me. I don't like to be found. So I left my job. I left my house. I'm not coming back. I don't even like the fact that you're there. The fact that you thought you could find me, we're gonna take that out the picture. Like I have this phone now. You giving me a way to contact you. That is the only way we need to be contacting each other, because I don't like to be found." And I thought this was a genius way to explain uh, his actions, right? If he was in fact red. I felt like that was like a great way of, like I said, like explaining those actions. So anyway, Prater invites him to his mansion, and they go talk, and this is where um, a lot of emotions become flared, right? Ooh, I forgot about this. This right here, this guy right here, this is where they latch on to where Mia was like, "You're going to be my first kill in New York." Like her excitement with it, right? And it tickled the detectives a little wrong. And yeah, so this is where Claudette, like, right, he's like talking about being in that chair, and this is where Claudette right here, she gets suspicious. She's like, "Wait, something ain't making sense." Like, he was there, but being the first kill in New York, like they're thinking that she killed Ryan Foster, and obviously he fits the memo because she's known for killing sexual predators. So with regard to Dexter's like use of like putting the blame on Mia, like he did that like astoundingly well. So she's got her work cut out for her. Yeah, I also know that like I think Batista comes in here. Yeah, he's right here. Look at Batista, little El Pasión, right? He comes in here again, and from what I know, um, police don't really like other police from other jurisdictions. Like you can see that when the FBI comes in and try to take over a case, or when another department comes in, normally the department that found the case is very upset. They're like, "Hey man, don't come in here acting like you own stuff, like you know more than me or whatever." And I feel like, because Batista is so genuine and he's not aggressive, like in his nature of "give me your facts" and "give me your whatever," like he wants to talk and like just kind of pick everyone's brains or whatever. I feel like he's accepted as a person who might have information of use, so whenever he comes around, they accept the conversation, and they accept his input as good input. And yeah, that's such a good still, Batista. So this is when they're talking about Dexter. Now, this right here, this whole scene threw me off because I did not think that this would be the narrative of the group. I thought it would be a narrative of the tattoo guy because I know Mia and the tattoo guy, they did not like each other, right? And for Ponytail Boy, right? I knew that he was very fond of Mia, so I understood like the difference here of like not wanting anything to happen to Mia, but this guy is on a mission, and his ego here is kind of what I thought. Well, first of all, I'm introduced. I feel like this is actually the first time I'm really introduced to this character because the first time I saw him, he was more of a vibe, more of a person who watched. He was very analytical. Who are you? Who are these people in the room? And obviously, I mean, I can see that too because there's a new killer in the room, and respectfully, they're all killers. So, as a person who's in what is it, like a crazy line of work, or one that could be potentially very dangerous, I can see a person being very analytical about who they're discussing their business with, who they're talking with. And this right here, I thought this was a very cool scene because in the first, I don't know if it was maybe it was the fourth episode, we see him for the first time, and he doesn't speak. So the fact that he was so vocal here, you know what's crazy was I was enjoying it. I was like, yeah, I was like, oh, I finally get to hear him. Oh man, later on I was hit with a swerve, on a play, man, a flag on the play. So I thought, man, that was crazy. This is where, you know, this one right here, she's over here paying people. And I at first he started off with that he was just gambling. I didn't know who he was, to be honest, but later on we find out who he is. I thought, some of these scenes were real quick and you kind of just have to suspect. But yeah, well, later we find out who bro is. Now here, this is when Dexter is doing some of his recon. I hope I can get it still. Yeah, he's doing some of his recon here. And sensitive content. Maybe I can get it like a little. No, I can't. Huh? It's all right. But the sensitive content, because this is the Gemini killer. He's known for killing in pairs. He was talking in the building how they've written books about him, and they're about to do a movie on him, the second movie, and bro, he's pretty paranoid because of his because of how infamous he is, right? He's basically like, no, she can turn on me, and where he is so big that he was like, man, she'll get anonymity for turning me in because to a certain extent, Mia's thought of in a good light, right? Like she kills sexual predators, and while killing is bad, disposing of evil in that way could be seen as a as a thank you to society. So I thought this was quite an interesting moment. Now here, oh, this is such a good still. So this is when Dexter starts following him, and yeah, this is when Dexter starts following. This is when things kind of get a little spicy, right? So bro's kind of tailing him right here, and you see him right here. I thought this was a very, like, when he was looking through this book and he found the bookmark and he was looking at the timestamp, I was like, does the other guy know he's being followed, like, or whatever? And you definitely see bro right here. He is right here. He's sneaking a peek. And then I don't know if he made that book fall on purpose or if it was on accident. I'm not really sure. But he definitely knows he's being followed as of right now. And this I thought it was funny how he looked up himself in the book. But I also thought it was funny how he didn't look up the Dark Passenger. But maybe it's because he maybe like a newer killer, so maybe nobody would have written a book about him. Because Gemini Killer's not caught either, but he had his own chapter. So it doesn't necessarily mean you have to get caught to have a chapter. So I thought that was interesting. Um, oh, this is where Harrison is about to babysit her son, and I'm not gonna lie. To a certain extent, I kind of I don't really like his girlfriend or his girlfriend, right? I know she's a hardworking person, and she definitely has qualities that I like about being a hardworking person, sticking your neck out for friends and telling the truth. But when Harrison talks about bettering himself, about getting into college, she almost kind of was like, "You can't do it," and I was like, I feel like if I had a friend who told me that, we would instantly just stop being friends. But that's just me. So, um, yeah, and then this kind of you can see his like his heroism is kind of coming up here because she's talking about her son, like he can't even sleep him in his room and he's having like asthma problems. Now this is another crazy scene because this right here is where um before Dexter was doing the following, now Dexter's being followed, but he doesn't know yet. And I thought this was crazy because he's minding his business. He's going up there. He sees blessing in them, and he's not tripping on it too much. You can see right here. This is when blessing's kind of starting to lose it, and then here is when Kraz gets interested. Kraz get interesting real quick. This is such a sinister pick too. I love how he kind of embraces the shadows or the darkness of his role, and here he's like, well, why'd you take my note? And Dexter he's a D1 like he's a D1 finesser. That's what a D1 finesser. So because he's like, oh, I was a fan, bro, and this guy has ego issues, and I think that's why he kind of delve into that role of like being an egotistical shit. So he was like, "Oh man, I was a fan, and I'm just so amazed by who you are. I just wanted to be closer to you." And this dude just, you throw a ball, he just catches it and he holds on to it. He's like, "Ooh, I have another fan." So, and this is how he gets fucked over. So, but again, I thought he was still like to a certain extent. I thought he was pretty intelligent about like later because when he sits down here and Dexter's serving drinks, he switches the drink. He's like, oh, I don't, I actually thought that was kind of, I gave him a little applause for that, and I thought Dexter was about to get his shit rocked on some real. I thought he was about to pass out, whatever. But of course, Dexter anticipates this. And one thing I will commend about his acting is I think he almost put the thought of switching the drink into Gemini's mind. Because if you notice, I don't want to play it, but if you notice when he gives the drinks, right, he doesn't sip his right away. He almost looks at him and almost waits for him to maybe feel a weird vibe. Like it's almost like he wanted him to catch it. Like he wanted him to think that the drink was weird or something. And I know now it's because he didn't want to drink it at first because it was the right. He planned on wanting it to be switched, but it was also like such an intelligent way of like kind of putting or making someone else feel uneasy. Because if you give a drink and you're just kind of like waiting for it, and you're looking at the dude to see if he'll take a drink first, then in somebody else's mind they're thinking, oh, mine's messed up, so I need to switch drinks. But in fact, it was Dexter's that was messed up. And he was like, I can't take a drink because I will pass out. So I need to make this moment as awkward as possible. Oh, man. As an actor, I think he just does so well here. And then Gemini gets, he passes out, and this is what I love this when he starts dancing. Oh, maybe it won't play, but he starts dancing. He like does this like turn of joy here. Oh, I thought it was great. Now here's where Harrison sees um, the landlord, and you can see this crazy still right here with his face, and he has this like flashback or just like moment of ah. I thought this crap really happened, but this is also kind of what happens with Dexter, right? Like we know that Harrison tends to have hallucinations, but most of his hallucinations that have been happening recently have been like scaring him and are guilt and whatever. But because like he's now like okay with his dad, like his dad is now in the picture and he's being a dad, then I see him kind of having different type of hallucinations, and one of them is smacking boy in the eyeball right here with a fork, and kind of freaks him out to the point where he drops the fork, and he like you can tell he like freaked himself out a little bit. So I thought that was kind of crazy, and I feel like Harrison's not done killing. I 100% feel like Harrison's not done. I don't know who he's gonna smack, but I feel like he's just not done killing. Now here's where Home Dog is all taped up. I do understand why Dexter kind of had to do this on the fly, right? Like, bro entered his house. He already wanted to kill him. So in a certain like in a certain way, it's like, bro, you done entered the battlefield on your own accord. I don't even have to hunt you anymore, bro. You came to me. Thank you. How honorable of you. You saved me some time. So I think he kind of just took the opportunity as it presented itself, and I just thought it was a great scene, great scene. Um, Now the dude is just so egotistical, and I know that Dexter has pride about his work too. So I was kind of like, you know what? I've been upset at like Dexter for not. I think he did it with Lowell. I think he told Lowell he was like, "I'm not red," and I thought that was really really refreshing for Lowell to figure that out, and I wanted the Gemini to figure that out as well because he was so egotistical about, oh yeah, you follow my work and you're a product of me, and I would have loved for Dexter to be like, bro, I'm number one, and that's not what this is. So I would have loved that, like, kind of like, I guess, egotistical huzzah from Dexter, but we don't get it here. He more just wants to take out the trash. And yeah, then we get Blessing coming in the house and explaining his story. And bro, here, man, Blessing, I feel like he has a darkness in him, because the line of where he said, "You must keep the darkness separate from your house." I thought that was important because it doesn't really suggest that Blessing no longer has the darkness. It just suggests that he keeps it away from his home. So what is it? Where does it go? What is it? What does he do with it? And that is what I'm interested to see or learn about Blessing here. Um, I think he is refreshing. I think he's a great person as I've seen so far. He seems to help people, and um, but we kind of see him kind of go off about that ice, and to the point where he doesn't even want help, or he doesn't want help to figure out how to solve the situation. He more of just like, no, make him do it. Like, like he has his own judge in him, is what I have realized. And I'm curious to where that judge takes him when he's not in his home, right? When he's not being present, because yeah, I'm just curious. I'm very curious. This is where I thought, man, I was like, Dexter, this boy, he's becoming sloppy. He's becoming sloppy. And I did not. I mean, I did not think that to a certain extent that Dexter would be this sloppy. And again, this is a movie stuff, right? Because blood has a smell, and I know bro's in that bathtub bleeding out, right? And I mean, yeah, like the thing was, not done right. He went to go fix it, but as like me as a person, I know that there's a smell in that room, and I'm curious as to why he's like, you don't smell it, especially if this is his house. He knows all the smells. So I'm kind of like, either Blessing knew that something was off, especially because what he said about keeping the darkness separate from his house. I don't know if he knows that Dexter has darkness within him, and he's almost telling Dexter, "Hey man, keep your crap away from here." I know, like it was almost like I know what you're doing type thing. Keep your crap away from here. I've been given a second chance, and I don't want to like jeopardize that. And I mean, obviously Dexter's slicker than grease, and he gets he gets out. But this scene kind of turned my gears, where I was like, I don't know if I believe everything type thing. But it was, I was, oh man, I was up in my seat. I was up in my seat because I there were two times where I thought Dexter would really get caught, and this was one, and where that girl entered his house and saw that mold, and she was like, "Yeah, he's MIA too." And they called him. I was like, "Oh no, he might get caught here too." Yeah. So this is where he puts him in the furnace, and here's where he's talking to Harrison about that hallucination, and he's talking about Deb, having a hot temper and things of that nature, but I feel like Harrison is starting to see that maybe he's more alike his father than he liked to believe or wanted to believe or even wanted to begin with. Because I feel like here he's kind of he's acknowledging, he's like, I think he's trying to tell his dad that he has these hallucinations. And I feel like the way Dexter handled this was, I feel like he handled it well because he doesn't want Harrison to be like him, right? I mean, Harrison said he didn't want to be, and that he had a conscience, and that he was trying to go about things a different way. But I feel like Dexter also had like a great opportunity here to ask him more questions. I feel like Dexter doesn't ask questions enough, and I feel like his character many of times assumes the role that he's supposed to go down because he doesn't ask questions. And I feel like this also has to tie in with Dexter having a little bit of an ego, which he does, because he doesn't ask questions here. And even previously, when he was talking to Harrison about the darkness within him, he didn't ask questions either. He was it was like, oh, I know what this is. And then when it didn't work out like that, now he's shifting again. But again, he's still here. Like, I know how to do this. And I feel like Dexter needs to talk more. He needs to ask more questions. He needs to, question the intricacies within the hallucination, or within why the motives, or within the outbursts of rage. He doesn't question the intricacies of these things. And I guess that might be because he's a forensic analyst, so he likes to analyze, right? So that's a whole thing too. And then Harrison blaming his darkness on Dexter. Honestly, I felt like that was a cop out, because in season 2, Harrison was sliced bro's leg, right, with the what was that, with the straight edge, and Dexter had to analyze the crime scene and almost force Harrison to tell him. And then later on, when Harrison, did his thing with the guy with the watch, right? He says, "Man, if you didn't teach me this, I wouldn't be like this." But I don't believe that in any sense, because before I taught you how to get away with it, bro, you were still trying to finesse and become the hero and trying to save people just in a different form. So I didn't completely agree with that, and I feel like Dexter, to me personally, I feel like the man needs to listen more and really analyze his son far more than he's doing. Um, Now later on, this is where I thought things get a little crazy. I did think on last episode that when she came in and she was telling Mia, she was like, "Well, we're gonna make your stay here short and comfortable." I did take that as a threat. But also with Prater's influence, I think it was more of I was hoping that Mia would not die. I think I just liked her as a character, and I liked her for because I felt like they really allowed Mia to. I feel like they allowed her character to really come out in the show and become like a developed character, and then they just took her away. So I think that's kind of what I'm salty about, like the developness of Mia, and then how I kind of I had like certain notions about her that she only kills serial killers and whatnot, and then they just kind of took her out of the entire thing. So I'm kind of salty about that. But at the same time, her death here I kind of expected, because even when Prater, or when she had came in and she was talking to Prater, she's like, "Hey man, like I don't have a lot of time, and she can be getting moved at any day." And Prater was like, "Hey man, I pay you to make problems go away. Figure it out." At that point, I was like, she's probably going, because she has to figure something out. The problem has to go away. And so now I understand that he sees Mia's situation as a problem. And I think that gets echoed when the Gemini killer basically talks about, he's like, "Hey man, she can tell on this, she can tell she knows too much. This is a problem. What are you going to do to ensure our safety?" And this is what happens. You know, you play a dangerous game, and you get dangerous prizes. Now, this is where I kind of was like, "Dexter, you're just becoming sloppy because they think he's red. Um, Normally when he shows up, he doesn't show up in his own car or whatever. He doesn't really show up with his own personal belongings. They normally pick him up on the side of the road, and he's using his anonymity, right? Now here he shows up in his own vehicle. Why? And I just thought this was a kind of a bad play on his part, and even dispatching of the Gemini killer in his own house. To a certain extent, I thought it was sloppy. Um, because he didn't prepare the house when he wanted to. Now maybe the M99 or whatever has a it doesn't have a the same effect if you drink it versus like injecting it. Maybe it's just not as strong, and that probably had a lot to do with the tape and the finessing of the room and things of that nature. But I just feel like to a certain extent, this entire episode, I felt like Dexter was getting sloppy. Even in the bookstore, the fact that he was seen by the Gemini killer, he's not very wary of his own surroundings. He's either becoming egotistical himself, which I know he has ego to a certain extent, but I feel like he's shifting into, now I'm the best, right? Because even at the end of that, he did a little spin. He's like, "Now who's number one now?" So I feel like Dexter's ego might get him in trouble. And this right here was when he was like, "Yo, I might be getting this is gonna get dangerous." And I feel like everything right when this dude walks up is when he starts tripping, because like, "Oh, Gemini's twin. There's two of them. Oh my gosh!" But here, this look. Oh, if I can get it, this freaking look here. Oh, I can't get it because my camera's. Oh no! But they give each other a look here, man. And I 100% think the Gemini killer knows that he killed his brother. That's what I'm gonna say. I think he knows, and I think, like on the next episode, them two are gonna be at war. There's psychological war, because they're in front of Prater, right? And they have to keep um, you can't turn on the group. So like that's the one rule that Prater has, other than getting caught. Seems like. Um, but that's going to be interesting because they're going to be playing psychological war with each other. And then maybe when Prater's out of the picture, the real war turns on. So I'm very interested to see how this plays out. Um, so yeah. Now, do I have some theories? I do. I do. So first of all, I have a strong feeling that Rapunzel's going to kill Dexter's girlfriend. Not sorry, not Dexter. Harrison's girlfriend. Every time I see this girl, she's got a ponytail on her head. Um, from what I remember in the trophies, they're not all blonde. I think he does like shift to different hair colors, but the fact that that woman's always wearing a ponytail, yeah, I feel like it says something to me. And I don't know how like Rapunzel picks his victims. I think we only saw that's that guy's name, Lowell. I feel like we only saw Lowell's process, and then we understood Mia's process because of how she goes after sex or whatever, but she invites to the house and whatnot. We haven't heard of Rapunzel's process, like other than Dexter kind of not giving him credit as like a real killer. He's like, oh, ponytail boy. We don't know too much about his process, how he picks people, what he goes after, and things of that nature. I feel like to a certain extent, he might be distracted because he has a family. Um, and I think that may be why he doesn't do too much, because he's busy with his family, and he really, it seems like he only lets out his darkness when he's on these group trips. That is what he said when he first came out. He's like, it's healthy for me to go on these because I get to let it out, and then when I go home, I get to be a family man. So he kind of reminds me of Trinity in a way, how he used to operate. But Trinity seemed like more of a controlling person, like even within the home. And I don't really see that with Rapunzel. But I honestly, I'm thinking that it's going to happen because, right, I feel like this interaction here with Dexter killing the other twin, this one is suspicious. With this one being suspicious, I feel like he's going to start looking into this to Dexter. And with that, he's going to find out he has a son. And then maybe, by following his son, they find the daughter or find Harrison's girlfriend. She's got a ponytail. Rapunzel's on his thing. Or they're going to have a clashing of some nature because I truly feel like, with first of all, being a twin is a huge thing. A lot of twins, they feel the moment that their twin is hurt, scared, or has like an emotion that is beyond normal or that's like intensifying. There's a lot of twins, they can feel that from their other twin because they share a heart or they share organs, or they're twins, right? They're part of the same egg. Or identical twins are. And they're identical twins. So I feel like there's something there where the Gemini killer, this one that we see, knows about about his brother being dispatched. And they exchange like some looks here. And again, I feel Dexter's surprised look or his confusion look or whatever this is, he's doing it in front of Prater. Like, he has no control over. I feel like before he knew he was in front of people and he knew he had to act a certain way. And I feel like he's allowing himself to get sloppy. That is kind of where I'm going. I feel like Dexter's getting sloppy. So I feel like my predictions on the next one is they're gonna clash. I don't know if they're one's gonna die, or I assume Gemini's killer it's Dexter, right? So I assume him and the Gemini killer they're gonna have some type of showdown, and I don't know what it is. Um, yeah, I don't. And then someone has to present, right? And because I saw the trailer, and I think they're all staring at Dexter because he's about to present. But then also Prater's like, "Hey man, you're hiding something." And he is hiding something. So I'm not sure what was gonna go down right there, but I am very interested to see. I'm very interested to see. If you guys have some predictions, y'all, let me know. This was a crazy episode for me, man. Like I was gears on the wall type thing, and I love this show, man. I just love it, freaking love it, man. Let me know what y'all think, dude.